Senator Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, let me welcome all of our witnesses today. Secretary Buttigieg, I'm going to start with you. I have long advocated for a robust infrastructure package, and I agree with the phrase you used today that fix it first should guide our approach. However, when I look at President Biden's proposal, it does not seem to embody that philosophy. For example, the administration's proposal, as you know, would spend $174 billion on electric vehicles, subsidies, charging stations, and other provisions, compared to spending $157 billion on roads, bridges, ports, airports, and waterways combined. Now, it's certainly appropriate to look ahead and to accommodate future and cleaner modes of transportation. But what the administration is doing is spending billions more on subsidies related to electric vehicles than on the roads and bridges on which they will travel. Could you explain that?
Sure. So, and thank you for the question. The roads and bridges and highways of this country have, of course, a multi-layered set of resources to support them. When it comes to electric vehicles, we are much earlier in America's story. And what we see now is that the story is beginning to show America falling behind. We believe robust public investment is needed in order to make sure that America leads the future when it comes to electric vehicles, especially from the perspective of making sure that the electric vehicles of the world are made on American soil by American workers. And we think that in order for that to happen in a way that might be reminiscent perhaps of how the U.S. aviation sector might not have blossomed the way it did if not for New Deal-era investments in airports across the country, that this does require good public policy in order to support the flourishing of a market that we think will put so many Americans to work, as well as help meet our climate goals.
Secretary Fudge, I want to turn to you for my next question and welcome you as well to the committee.
Thank you.
Safe, affordable housing has long been a goal of Senator Jack Reed and me as we chaired or acted as ranking member of the T-Hub subcommittee. I also led the floor fight to preserve the fair housing regulations during President Obama's administration. I am concerned, however, that the administration is taking a very heavy-handed approach to achieving the goal of affordable housing. And let me give you the specific. The administration's proposal includes $5 billion for a new grant program to be awarded to jurisdictions that make changes in local zoning laws. And I am troubled by having the administration, the federal government, dictate local zoning laws. I would also note that that $5 billion is larger than the entire funding for the Community Development Block Grant Program, which is arguably the nation's most popular and certainly has been its largest community development program. Will the administration tie access to other federal funding to changes in local zoning laws and land use policies in your department?
First off, thank you so much for the question, and thank you for the conversations we've had about fair housing, Senator. Let me first say that the $5 billion, it's not a mandate. It is not a dictate. What the plan is to have a discussion with communities about how we could make zoning less exclusionary and more inclusionary. I'm a former mayor. I would never be in support of demanding or dictating that communities have to change their zoning to do a certain thing. But I think it is important, as we are talking about building and or retrofitting or rehabilitating, whatever term you'd like to use, housing, we know that the cost of those are significantly higher when the zoning is more restrictive. So this is more an incentive, or more a conversation, but I'd love to have this conversation with you going forward because I think it's important.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.